Hello everyone, it's Exoman. It occurred to me today that I have never grappled with the subject with you all, my audience, of positive thought in general, and what is the power of thought. Um, and that's something I want to do now, just in a peripheral sense, and I'll do it again later, perhaps in more detail. But what is positive thought, and what are its uses, and what does it mean to me? And as with everything, a lot of things that I talk about, I give perspective and background, and my background is pertinent to the way that I use positive thought. So you've no doubt heard a lot of it before, but here goes. I had a very rough background. I had a lot of love, though. I had love in my life. I had a good mother, and that was perhaps the greatest gift of my childhood and my coming into this world was love. The love that endured and helped me through a lot of hard times. Anyway, there were a lot of scars, a lot of struggles in my childhood, a lot of obstacles. That's what I'm trying to say. A great many obstacles. And I would not really understand positive thought as a tool until I was considerably older, probably a young man. And I started reading people like Wayne Dyer and Scott Peck. Even read interesting people like Julian Jaynes and Thomas Jefferson, and gained a lot of perspective on how thought shapes the world we live in and our day-to-day lives, and to what degree. So the reason I'm going into this is because it also occurs to me that there are some people that haven't really been given a formal introduction to how thought shapes your very life. Just as we talk about food and exercise, and what you put in your body is what you become. You become what you eat, in a very real sense. So too do we become. It manifests in our soul and in our bodies. We become what we think about and what we engage in, the actions we choose, the choices we make, the things we think about shape us. I heard someone say recently, I can't even remember who it was I read or watched, who said, garbage in, garbage out. You put foul thoughts and visuals in your mind, and that's what you become, and that's what you exude, and that's what you bring to the world. That's what you offer. That is your legacy. It becomes your legacy. So who do you want to be? Okay, what do you want to be? Well, my friends, that is what you should be thinking about. Think about what you want to be. Do you get what I'm saying? Focus. Put your attention on good things. And it's a practice. It's just, how they say practice makes perfect? Well, that's how you do it. You put your focus and you put your attention on positive things. And as Wayne Dyer said, to paraphrase him, he said, the world is basically what you intend. What are your intentions? You basically create the world through intention. I intended, there was a day, I talked recently about fitness and what, my wife is constant. She's 50 years old and she's got the body of a fit 25-year-old, and people ask her naturally, what do you eat, and what do you do to work out, and we did a talk on what is more important than knowing what to, you've heard all of that. We talked about how you hear all of the theory, but there comes a time when you just have to engage in the practical. So the practical becomes doing those things you've heard. And the way that you start to do that is by igniting. You have to ignite. Something has to, as I said in that talk, the pilot light has to come on. And there has to be a reason for that. Once you find that reason, that is when you ignite. You find the reason, like with the talk about health, we said, you know, you're tired of being fat, or you don't want to die of a heart attack when you're 35, or, you know, you've got kids and grandkids to look forward to, so you want to be fit. You want to be successful in your career, and that requires having stamina. Whatever, it has to be something that causes you to ignite. So too with your mental and spiritual self. Let's face it, we don't live as separate parts of a being. We live in a collective. All parts of our being make up who we are. So we feed our soul and we feed our body. We nourish ourselves, mind, body, and spirit the same way, don't we? By putting things in. Okay? And just like your car, you have to concern yourself with various fluids, not just water, not just oil, not just gas. And you have to have a battery. You have to have something to ignite your spark. All of these things must be considered, mind, body, and spirit. But now we're talking about how do you become a better person through thought. And again, it just comes down to what do you bring into your consciousness? What do you focus on? And like any other pursuit, like any other discipline, it just requires practice. You know, we have to, when we look at the word diet, dissect that word. What is our diet? That means what are the things that we collect, we gather, and consume. Okay? What is your mental diet? What is your spiritual diet? Do you harbor anger? Do you fight with your family? Do you carry grudges? Do you look for people who owe you money or owe you something and pursue them? Or do you let things go and pursue things that are positive for you and those around you? So that is how we must engage life. We must remember that we become what we think about. We become what we engage and how we engage. So when you live the day-to-day, remember that. Put that in the back of your head. What TV am I going to watch? What books am I going to read? If you want to read 50 Shades of Grey and books like that every day of your life, that's fine. If you really want to be a hypersexual person, if you want to read books about violence day in, day out, and watch shows about violence, that's fine. If you have and it doesn't mean that you're going to be a violent person. It just means that you're going to be a person with dis-ease, not at ease with the world and worried about the world. And it's just like the media. When we watch the news, things are exaggerated. Well, there's Farm Girl. Say hi, everybody. Things are exaggerated in the news, and we tend to become fearful, and we tend to believe those exaggerated portraits of the world in which we live. And they're not necessarily true. Those things aren't true. But we feed into that fear, and we believe it. We believe those things we see projected. So if we watch, what I'm saying is, if we focus too much on the news or on different things on social media that cause us unease or dis-ease, that's what we become. We become diseased. We become uneasy. We become worried and depressed. And worry and depression cause physical diseases. You see where I'm going? So not only are we talking about how to build one's character and how to become a better person and have a richer life, both in a physical, mental, spiritual sense, and in terms of financial well-being. These things all work together. We learn that as we grow, as we age and gain wisdom. But if we want to be better people, we need to nourish ourselves in such a way that brings that about. And the way that we bring that about is with our attention. Okay, so that, my friends, is the gist of my discussion about positive thought. And the proof is in the pudding, as my mom always said. And that's why I talk to you about my background. I have completely and utterly changed my life. I have changed the person that I was. But, you know, as those who are philosophers might say, you didn't change a thing. You were always meant to be this. You were always meant to be. So, you know, are you going to go find your destiny? I hope that these words will reach a few people who are on the edge. I know some of you already know these things. And like I said earlier, I know some have not yet been formally introduced to the power of your mind and the power of thought. So that's what I did. That's where I come from. I started out on a really, really rough road, and I engaged, I ignited in my teens, and I decided I was going to make my world better and my life better. And you can too. You just need to just listen to and read the words of great thinkers like Wayne Dyer and Scott Peck. Read the biographies of great people who've overcome great obstacles. There are people who have overcome obstacles far greater than any I have imagined in my life. So you can do it, my friends. And the instrument is completely within your control, and you can start this exact second to become the person you want to be. All right. Best of luck. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.